Okay. Awesome. So we're live, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Let's see what else we got. Twitter, YouTube. Nice. This is all working wonderfully. So I'm trying out another platform here. It's called Caster. So Caster is the one that goes out to all these channels and essentially shares the information. All right. So now that I'm live, I do want to get, let's see here. I do want to get comments. So if people comment, I could look over it. Let me see. Again, sorry for the delay. I just want to make sure that I can see the comments as they come up. Open chat. All right. Let's see. Okay. So let me just try to comment on this thing on myself just to make sure I could see it. Because again, if questions come up, I want to be able to answer them. Let's see. Looks like it's working. Yes. All right. So live on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, talking about real estate and freedom. So real estate and freedom. One of the most important things in 2023 is going to be how to get your freedom, how to get your time back. And let me bring this microphone closer so you guys can hear me on what's going on. And one of the things that thankfully my wife and I were able to do almost a decade ago. Wow, it's been 2011. We purchased our first home. It was a 4-unit property that allowed us to live rent-free and then essentially scale up and be able to scale our business. So in this 2023, if buying real estate is a goal for you, go ahead and comment it here. What I'm going to have in the next 30 days, I'm working with an individual right now. We're finally coming up with the full course. Now, one of my biggest persons that I love right now, especially on Instagram, is Alex Hormozy. If you don't know who Alex is, he pretty much built a huge business and now acquires companies. But one of the things he did is he put out a 99-cent ebook. It's called I think it's called 100 million or your first 100 million, something, $100 million offer, right? And the reason that he put that out is all about marketing, but we're not here to talk about marketing. So what I actually want to do is something very, very similar where you have no excuse. You're going to have a step-by-step playbook on exactly what you need to scale this real estate business and really to get into it. Because I see that there's a lot of people right now that are serving people that, hey, you want to be this bajillionaire, you want to have this Ferrari behind you and this Bentley and this Rolls Royce, and you want to have this private jet, but maybe they're not giving them the exact steps of how to get there. And not only are they not giving them the exact steps, they're like flashing all of their wealth, and it's like, okay, good for you, man, but how do I get some of that? Now, again, I'm not a guru, I'm not a coach, I'm not a trainer. I just want to share the experience that I've had myself personally and that I've helped hundreds of clients in order to buy their first investment property, and then, essentially how you get into that. So one of the things that I've realized is that freedom, right? When you look at freedom right now, when you probably go to work and you're interacting at your job or doing whatever it is that you're doing, you're working in order to pay bills. And what do I mean by that, right? You wake up, you probably do the same thing where you go to the bathroom, you take a shower, you get the breakfast ready, you get the kids ready, you go to a place, you work for 8 to 10 hours a day, you're stuck in traffic for an hour, you're stuck in traffic an hour and a half when you get home, and then you're tired and all you want to do is come home and watch TV series, sports, hang out with friends, do that whole thing, and then your life is this repeated vicious cycle of doing the same thing, and you're probably saying, hey, I want more out of life, but how do I do that? Now, I'm not even going to call it a secret. One of the tricks is really if you break out your budget and you look at your expenses, one thing that you're going to figure out very, very, very quickly is that a whole bunch of that money, a large percentage of the income that you're bringing in, is probably going to what? To rent, right? You're paying your rent. So again, if you're on Instagram and watching this, we got Harris that joined in. If you want to hop on and ask a question, I'd love to answer your question. Just got Alex to come in. Welcome, welcome. So again, when you're breaking down your budget and you're looking at that, right, that's the first thing that my wife and I saw, back then, almost a decade ago, when we said, hey, we're going to get married, we're going to move together, but there's this thing called rent and it's going to take up 30 to 40% of our paychecks. How do we minimize that, right? So that's how, again, looking at that and being conscious about that, saying, hey, if I could save that 30 to 40% on a monthly basis and really start an investing journey where I have an asset, real estate, that serves me well, not only do I have to live there, because guess what? Whether you're paying rent or whether it's your own house that you're renting to other people, you need a place to live. So, how do you serve this for you to serve as a stepping stone to the next level? Maybe you would love to, not work a full-time job or work a part-time job, but the reason that you can't is because, again, you can't afford rent by its own. If you don't pay rent, you're going to get kicked out, you're going to live on the street. So, again, whether you want to say that this isn't for everyone and this doesn't work all the place, whatever it is, I know one thing. If you live right now in the United States, you are either paying a rental payment, a mortgage payment, or at least you're paying the property taxes on the property that you own outright. So you're paying something no matter what. You have a living expense. And what this will allow you to do is essentially minimize or offset your personal living expense. So that way you can save and then you can invest into other things. So again, going back to some of the things that people in real estate teach, heck, man, if I was 18 and I had some of the resources and I, would have been a different mindset and maybe around different people, yeah, maybe I would have gotten into wholesaling, or maybe I would have gotten into flipping, or maybe I would have taken, real estate brokerage as a serious thing instead of going to college. But we can't go back in time. The thing is, you're in 2023. The question is, how are you going to end the next 12 months? January 20th, 23rd, 2024, what is it that you're going to say? Are you going to say, hey, I'm doing the same exact thing. I got a $2 raise at my job. I can't travel. I'm restricted to this. My kids don't have that. I don't have this. I'm not living a happy life, right? That's miserable. That sucks. So, again, we're talking about freedoms. So the first thing to establish is if you're in agreement with me that, hey, a large chunk of the money that I make goes to my rental payment, my living payment, okay, how do we solve this problem? Now, let me tell you, the first thing, again, maybe you're in a position that you have somebody that can gift you. Let's say you have a parent or you have a sibling or whatever that can gift you the down payment to your first property. That, according to FHA is the First Time Home Buyers Association. It's a type of loan that you get in a bank that tells the bank, hey, I'm going to live in this property and I only have to put 3.5% down. And you can use that for 1 family, 2 family, 3 family, and 4 family homes. Now, I, got a little crazy. My wife and I decided to go into a 4 family. But really what that allowed us to do is the income that we got from the 3 families allowed us to live rent-free and pay for the mortgage, pay for the insurance, pay for the taxes, pay for the water, pay for the maintenance, all of that stuff while not paying rent ourselves, right? So what did we do? We took that money and we saved the money, which we would have been paying anyways for rent, about $800 at that time for a 2-bedroom. So we took that $800 and we saved it up. 800 times 12 is $9,600. So that $9,600 that we were able to save the first year, we invested it back into the property to improve the conditions. And then the following year, we actually purchased another property, which really got started our income real estate portfolio to do it. Now, again, somebody that I don't know, is in a different position, might crap on this video and say, hey, yeah, but there's a much easier way of doing it. I can go and do digital marketing. I can make 20 grand and do all that stuff. Well, great. If that is the path you are willing to take, this video might not be for you. But again, if you are in a position where right now you're working a job and you don't see a way out, your job is probably the number one resource you have to get you to the next step, right? Your job is going to show the bank, the lender, the person that is going to give you the money, that you have some sort of income in order to pay them back. Now, again, when you buy a 2-family, a 3-family, and a 4-family, maybe in some scenarios, a 1-family might work where you could buy a 5-bedroom, Airbnb, have friends or whatever. But the thing is, when you buy a 1-family, the bank, the lender, isn't going to look at that Airbnb income essentially as a type of income. When you buy a 2-family, they're going to say, hey, you know what? That second unit, that rental income that's coming in, we're going to count that as a source of income, and they apply that to the income that you could use in order to qualify. Same thing, when you have a 3-family or a 4-family, now you can demonstrate even more income, which again is going to get you to that higher price point. Now, as we discuss this price point, if you're somewhere in the United States, you're probably going around driving, you're like, oh my God, I am never going to be able to afford real estate where I live, right? It's so expensive. I don't understand what's going on in the market. I don't make enough to qualify for a loan. What is my way out? And again, that way out is by starting in a property where you have additional rental income in order to supplement what it is that you're currently making at your job. So again, it's a stepping stone. I'm not telling you to go and quit your job tomorrow. I'm not telling you to buy some sort of $997 course in order for you to learn how to flip real estate. I'm not telling you to subscribe to some sort of mastermind and pay $9,997 where you get to sit in a room and hear other people and what they've done and still ask yourself, how is it that I'm going to achieve this? I'm asking you to set a plan for 2023. Be patient and unreasonable. Be patient and unreasonable in order to get that goal. Now, what I mean by saying be patient and unreasonable, back at that time, I was working, and where I was working, even though I was working from the state of Massachusetts, I was working in the Department of Transportation, but I was not making enough money in order to do this. So what did I say? Hey, you know what? I'm going to buy a property and I need 3.5% down payment. That 3.5% down payment came out roughly to be $17,000. And I say, okay, how can I, working at a job where I make less than $50,000, come up and save $15,000 to do it? Now, I did the math and it was very, very hard. And I said, the only way that I can do it with the job that I have right now is by working overtime. Again, this is the path that I took. Maybe you have a different sort of job where you can have, let's say you're in sales, where you get some sort of salary plus commission. You can sell more and you could save that money, strategically save that money to invest into the property. Maybe, you don't have that option and you're already working and you say, hey, I got to come up with another resource. Well, unfortunately, you might have to trade more hours for dollars. So maybe you drive Uber, maybe you drive Lyft, maybe you do DoorDash, maybe you do something in order to generate that income with the understanding, the clear conscious sacrifice that, hey, I'm going to do this for the next 10 months in order to do it. That's roughly what it took me. It took me 10 months of working overtime in order to save up. I actually saved up about $9,800. And then my mother-in-law actually gave us as a gift that other amount that we were able to apply in order to buy this property, right? And the way that this happened for us and the way that this happened for you is that literally we closed on the 20th of December. So at closing, before closing, I think I gave a deposit. It was either $7,500 or $8,000. At closing, we walked in with the other $10,000. We closed on the property. January 1st, when the rent was due, it was $800 for the back unit. The top unit was empty at that time, and the upstairs was, I think it was 1,200. So literally 10 days after I closed, I got $2,000 that came in, and we were able to make a mortgage payment, which is at that time was about $1,600. That included the taxes, the principal, the interest, the PMI, which is your private mortgage insurance. All of that stuff was included in there. And then I had some money left over. I had an empty unit that I was going to move into, that I was working on after work. And then there was another unit upstairs that was empty that I was also working on, painting and doing little minor touch-up stuff. So literally within 10 days, I was able to pay the mortgage payment without using my income. So then February came around. This was January. February came around, and I rented the second floor rear apartment. So again, this had 4 units. I rented the second floor rear apartment. I think at that time it was $750. I think is what I was charging. Again, this was 10 years ago. But again, this is how it worked. So I'm sharing with you my story. And if you think that you can't do this in 2023, I welcome you. Bring your deal. You don't have to give me the address. You don't have to tell me a lot of details. Just say, hey, I'm in this market. This is what the median price range is for a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, whatever you have. And then we'll break out the numbers. I'll help you break down the numbers, and I'll show you exactly how you're able to do this. So again, at that time, the second month came in. Now I had the 2,000 from the one unit and then the back unit, and then I had an additional 1,800, so that was 2,800. So now all of a sudden, the second month, I actually had $1,000 left over after I paid the mortgage and everything else. So the $9,000 that we brought in closing, by September of that year, we had already received all the money back. So again, I strongly emphasize that if you're in a position where you've been living somewhere 5, 6, 10 years, or maybe you're just getting started, you're about to get your first place, and you're saying, hey, how do I do this a reality? Make a plan for yourself for 2023 and say, hey, you know what? This is the way that we're going to do this. I'm going to sacrifice and I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to put my attention to this. And then what that's going to allow me to do is 12 months from now or 10 months from now, I'll have enough for a down payment. Maybe you call up your parents and you say, hey, mom, dad, uncle, aunt, grandparents, I'm going to do this. This is exactly what I need. I've already figured it out. I've gone to the bank. And again, I'm going to get into all these steps on the other lives that I do this and on the other resources that I'm going to provide you. And this is what I plan to do, because if you show someone, right, if you show your parents, your relatives, whatever, if you show them this is the plan that I have, this is what I plan on doing, I need your help. If they're able to give you whatever $2,000, $3,000 as a gift, which you're allowed to do under FHA standards, First Time Home Buyers Association, in order to get a mortgage, that's a huge help that can help you out. So don't think you need to get all of this money on your own. Now, again, I'm not going to sell you dreams. I'm not going to sell you anything. Everything that I'm going to do is I'm going to give it away for you, right? And I think that, as Alex Hormozi said, the only reason that he put his book for 99 cents is because literally if you don't put a price on it on Amazon, then people can't find you. So the same type of thing here. I'm going to give away everything that I know, everything that I've experienced over the last 10 years for free. There's no course, there's no upsells, there's no mastermind. If you're in that position, you're probably not going to work with me. And my goal is to get you lined up, to get you in a position that by the end of the year, maybe sooner, maybe it takes you 14 months, maybe it takes you 16 months, maybe it takes you 18 months, in that position where you could live rent-free and you start down that investment journey. But more than anything else is the time, right? Imagine this. Imagine yourself a year from now. You live in a property where you no longer have to take care of rent because the amount of money that you have coming in from your other 2 or 3 rental units is enough to cover your mortgage payment and is enough to cover that you don't have to worry at least about rent, right? And let's say you're just starting off, maybe you have one or two kids, and your living expenses aren't that high. It might be, $2,000 to $3,000 a month for what you spend on gas. I know groceries are high, but what you spend on groceries and what you spend for entertainment or whatever. So let's say that right now you're spending $2,000 to $3,000 on groceries, and your rental payment was $1,500 to $2,000, and all of a sudden a year from now, that $1,500 $2,000 that you had to pay for rent, you no longer have to pay. What position does that put you in, right? What are you able to do? Are you able to maybe sleep better at night, not worrying about how you're going to pay rent here in the next 8 days when it's February 1st, right? That's what I want to give you. Now, for some of you that might be a little bit more advanced and you know everything that I'm talking about, there's a next level, there's a next step, right? After my wife and I did this, the next step was, hey, okay, now that we're living rent-free, how do I save up money in order to buy our first investment property that we truly, truly have as an investment? I don't have to live there, right? And again, for me, it was very, very unique, right? I went to school for architectural engineering. I worked a lot of construction jobs. I saw things firsthand on how to do a lot of things. So I was very savvy, and at the same time, I was willing to take a risk. So we went in and we bought the first property. I'll post a picture of it sometime. It was a fire burn property. We fixed it up. We rented it out, right? And then we continued. But that first property that we got into, that 4-unit multifamily, that is what gave us the freedom in order to do that. A few years later, we got tired of the cold. We got tired of Massachusetts. We got tired of the 20 inches of snow and 20 degrees in the middle of February in Boston, and we moved to Miami. And the only reason, one of the only reasons that happened, is because of the rental income that we had coming in from our rental units. So again, if you're in that place where you're like, hey, at some point of my life, I want this for me. I don't want to be in that little runaround where I'm just working this job and I can't see a way out. I can't see an end to freedom. Man, I tell you, and my wife, for example, she's a tax planner. She deals a lot with business owners and small business owners and real estate investors. And I mean, especially now where, things have gotten so expensive and, costs have gone up and your repair costs are higher, your taxes are higher, your utilities are higher. The tax benefits that you get from from having real estate and instead of having earned income, having revenue from your rental portfolio and being able to, justify a lot of the expenses that you have associated to that multifamily property, it's crazy. For example, one thing that I will say is a lot of the times, for example, last year we sold 2 of our assets, and one time I had to go to Boston in order to sell them. I don't exactly remember what was going on, but for that trip, I have family that still lives down there in Boston, right? So, for example, in a conventional scenario, when you're talking about business and you're talking about taxes, if you fly down, let's say you live in Miami like I do, and you're going to go visit family in Boston, right? Guess what you have to do? You have to pull out your credit card. You have to use your personal income in order to cover your expenses. But guess what? I was going there on business purposes. I'm going to sell this real estate asset. I manage that real estate asset, so this is a justifiable expense. So what did I do? I booked it on my business credit card. And again, this is a whole other topic which we'll get to another day. Separation of personal assets and business assets. I used my business credit card. I did my business trip. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to visit my family. Maybe you could do that, right? There's a lot of things which, again, talk with your CPA, talk with your accounting professional. If you want me to set something up with my wife, if you're a small business owner, she doesn't deal a lot with personal individuals. Again, that's just her expertise is working with small businesses and small business owners and real estate investors. But again, if you want me to set something up, I'd love to do that. Just have a consultation and be like, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. So anyways, the tax advantages that you have owning real estate from a cash flow perspective, and also the things that you're able to deduct as normal business expenses, are huge. So let's see, just looking at here. Hey, Karma, how's it going? Suleika, how's it going? So again, I'm gonna be coming on here once a week. Ideally, I want to do this twice a week. By the end of 2023, the goal is number one, by the end of this month. So in the next 8 days, figure out what your goal is. What is it that you want your life to look like in 2023, and then how do you make that happen? Financially, personally, emotionally, on every single level that you got going on, is how do you make that happen, right? A lot of people are saying income is a huge thing. How do I get more income? I'm not a guru. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not selling you a course on how to do this, how to do that. You have to figure that shit out, right? I'm not going to be telling you what to do, right? There's a million ways that people do other things, right? They drive Uber, they do DoorDash, they do other things in order to generate extra income. You might be good at computers. Maybe you go and fix things up. Maybe you're good at networking. You do things in order to put networks together. I don't know. There's multiple ways for you to generate income. But that's really for you to figure out. The next step is, again, if you're working on a job, is how do I come up with that down payment? Now, again, if you have a pen and paper, make sure you write this down. You're going to look for an FHA loan, First Time Home Buyers Association. When you go to a lender, they're going to tell you exactly what the requirements are. Typically, it's a 580 credit score. Based on your income, you're going to be able to qualify for a certain amount of loan. And then let's say you're buying a 2-family, a 3-family, or 4-family, they're going to count a percentage of that additional rental income to your income. They're going to add those numbers together, and it's going to increase the amount that you can qualify for. So you're not only going to be able to qualify, let's say you make, I don't know, let's just take a figure, $80,000. And based on interest rates and based on taxes and insurance, you can theoretically purchase a home for $400,000. Now, all of a sudden, you add the second apartment, third apartment, fourth apartment income, and because you're going to generate, let's say, an extra, let's just say $1,000 per unit, 3 times 12 is $36,000. Now you went from $80,000 to $116,000, and there's a percentage of that. I don't remember if it's 80%, 50%, whatever the numbers is that they use. I'm not a lender. I'm a real estate broker, and now I'm deal more in commercial assets. So again, I'm specifically talking to you about what you need. So again, figure out, again, write it down. FHA, First Time Home Buyers Association. The lender is going to tell you what you need. 580 credit score. Your income is going to give you your maximum purchase price, right? Number 2 is going to be your maximum purchase price. Now, in your market, whether you're in Miami, whether you're in Boston, whether you're in New York, whether you're in the Carolinas, in Virginia, and again, I'm going down the East Coast. I've done some things in Texas, some things in California, some Washington State. This does not work everywhere, okay? This does not work everywhere. And people that tell you, hey, buy my shit works anywhere that you go, that's bullshit, okay? Don't buy their shit. This does not work everywhere, because if you drive in certain parts of the country, you don't have 2-family duplexes, 3-family threeplexes, 4-family fourplexes. You're mostly a single family community, right? You might have duplexes. I've seen a lot of places where there's a lot of single family and there's a few duplexes, or people that, for example, have in California, especially once they pass the what was it called, the PUDs, whatever, the planned unit, crap, I forgot what it was, but essentially in California, they passed a law that allow you to have, if you had a single family home, you can add an addition and have it as a second dwelling. So, some areas allow you to do that. But again, this does not work everywhere. This works well in places where you have a lot of 2-family, a lot of 3-family, a lot of 4-family. So duplex, 3-plex, and 4-plex, this works well. In the scenario that you don't have that, maybe, and the reason I say maybe is because, again, Airbnb does not work everywhere. There are certain places where Airbnb, you would be like, why the hell would I want to go here, right? But guess what? Maybe it's a military town where you have a naval base or you have some sort of thing. So maybe in that area, you could buy a single family home. You could rent it out to a whole bunch of your buddies who are also on the military base or whatever, and that can help you out. So again, it's an idea, but this really, really works well where you have 2 family, 3 family, 4 family, duplex, 3plex, and 4plex. I can guarantee you that the numbers are going to work if you buy at the right price, right? Of course, you have to factor in price and you have to factor in interest rates. You have to factor in deferred maintenance. There's a lot of things that go into it. But 99% of the time, where you have those scenarios where there are, at least some 2 family, 3 family, and 4 family, instead of buying that single family home, that forever home that you've been sold in school, that we have to live on this beautiful paradise in a forever home where my kids grow up, where they go on this perfect school. Detach emotionally, okay? And attach logically and number-wise. Guess what? Wherever you're living right now and you're paying rent, number one, you're paying rent, so you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Number two, you're probably not that happy with the school system that your kids are going in, or maybe you are. And then number three is what happens the day that you don't pay rent. Now again, you might ask yourself in the same thing. I own the single family property. The schools might not be that great or whatever. I'm paying for my own mortgage, but what happens on the day that you stop paying your mortgage? What's your exit plan? Are you waiting for the economy to keep on going up? And right now, as we talk about the economy and we're in uncertain times, most likely a lot of people have done reviews and economists and scientists and this and that and going back and forth. No matter what happens in the economy, most people can agree that it's probably not going to be like 2008. Most people can probably agree that it's not going to be like the 1980s. Most people can probably agree that it's not going to be like the Great Depression of 1929, right? Most people agree on that. Now, might we have a small adjustment where it goes from, we're at 100% and it goes down to maybe 95%, 90%? I think that is very realistic. I think at some point you have to look at microclimates, micro cities, small areas, local areas, and realize, hey, what is going on here? Where are people moving? Is this viable? Does this make sense, right? How come I'm seeing all these U-Hauls driving down the road? What is going on? And then forget about everything that's happened nationally and how there's bombs and shootings and all this stuff, right? The bad in the world is balanced by the good in the world. Nothing is more, nothing is less. So again, if the economy does adjust 10%, guess what? You still have to pay your mortgage. People still have to pay rent. And again, even at the worst time where it was almost 20% unemployment rent, guess what? 80% of the people were still working. So what number are you focused on? In 2008, I remember I had just graduated from college. It was the worst time to look for a job. But guess what? 100 resumes later, 15 interviews later, I got a job at a time where it was impossible to get a job, right? So anyways, shooting this way out of proportion, I think that's got to be it for tonight. So again, the action steps for tonight is number one, make a plan. Say, hey, I want a change in my life. And hopefully that change that you want is, hey, at the end of 2023, I really, really don't want to pay rent. I really want to put myself, my family, my kids, the place where I want, in a position that I have income coming in from rental income from a property that I own, and I can live in a place where I don't have to pay rent. So let's say that you set that goal for 2023. In the next few videos, again, we'll go in. My goal is to do this at least once a week. And once I produce the resources, you're going to get them completely for free. I think worst case scenario, once I publish the book, like Alex Hormozi, it'll be for 99 cents. Just because you can't have a book on Amazon that's free. You have to give it a price. Again, all the money, if I sell that book, will go 100% to charity. So it's not even for the money. And again, as Alex Harmozy put it out there, the amount of hours that I spent, if I calculate my hourly rate, it's, negative, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So again, it's 99 cents. But anyways, the main thing that I want for you is to come up with a plan. 2023, what does it look like January 23rd, 2024? New Year's just went by. Are you at the same job? Are you doing the same thing? Do you have the liberty to move? Can you go on vacation without necessarily asking your boss? Are you looking to switch your environment? How do you make that happen, right? And again, a lot of this stuff, now that I think about it, maybe took 2 or 3 years of really looking into it and be like, damn, this is not what I want for my life. I don't want to live like my parents do, where it's, paycheck to paycheck and doing this and doing that. Damn, do I really want that, right? And there's a lot of time that took me to do that. And then when I got into business world and entrepreneurship and I started looking at things, and I was like, damn, that's not what I really, really want. I don't want to be doing this crap my whole entire life. I want to do something else, but how do I do that? How do I stop this business venture that I'm in and do that? And again, that's where the real estate income that I personally generated from my rental portfolio allowed me to do that, gave me a lot of free time, gave me a lot of time to introspect and look at things and be like, this is not what I want. Let's plan another way. So again, just make a plan. Make a plan to be free at least of that rental payment, okay? By 2023, the end of 2023, let's just put it as a goal that, hey, you know what? Come January, I don't want to pay rent anymore. I want to have a 2-family, a 3-family, or a 4-family home where I can have tenants, rent out the units, and then at least I don't have to worry about that rent bill. You're not going to give up your job, okay? You're going to continue working there. Again, I bought that first property in 2011, and I didn't quit my job until late 2013. So it took me 2.5 years after I bought my first property to actually leave my job. Because the goal after the first property was, hey, now that I see that this works, how do I replace my income, whatever I'm making now, by getting more properties in order to stop doing that? So again, it's a mathematical formula. You could figure it out. Whether it's $25,000, $30,000, $50,000, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000, there's a mathematical formula to doing that. And we'll get into exactly how to scale. But what's the point of scaling if you're at 0? Okay? The next number from 0 is 1. So let's focus at 1. Let's get you that first 1. Let's get rid of that one payment that bugs you in the ass, which is your rental payment every single first of the month. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get you one goal for 2023 that you can achieve. Let's use one method to do it. And let's actually make it happen in reality for you. Okay? So that's the goal. Figure out, hey, what is it that I want? That's probably the hardest thing that you will do if you're watching this tonight, tomorrow, whenever. What is it that I want? Do I want to pay rent at the end of 2023? If you're saying yes, then I probably can't help you. If you're saying no, I don't want to pay rent at the end of 2023, then put it in your mind that one of the ways that that is possible is for you to buy a rental property where your tenants give you their money to pay rent, right? They're paying rent for the property that they live in, which is your property now. And with the money that they give you, you simply take that money and you give it to the bank. You take that tenant's money and you give it to the bank. You take that tenant's money and you give it to the bank. You stop going into your wallet at the end of every single month and be like, hey, my rent payment. Here you go. Here you go, Mr. Landlord. Here's my rent payment. Take my money. Go take it to the bank. Right? Be that landlord. Be that individual where your tenant comes to you and be like, hey, Mr. Tenant, thank you for the cash. Here you go. And the money that you have in here in your wallet stays right in your wallet and stays in your pocket. And eventually what you have in your pocket, because you're not giving up, your employment just yet grows and grows and grows, and now you're able to take that money and do the same thing second time. You're able to do it a third time. You're able to do it a fourth time. There comes a point where you're not going to be using an FHA loan anymore, right? There's going to come to that point. But again, you're going to understand this. The first one is going to allow you to learn all the mistakes. My brother still plays baseball, and I remember when he started training when he was like, what is it called, T-ball. I don't even remember what age that was. It must have been before 10. Thanks, man. Joey, nice to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. So again, I remember when he was playing T-ball, when he first started, he sucked. I mean, he couldn't hit that ball. You know how they have the little stick that the ball stands on and you swing at it? He couldn't hit that thing, and he would strike out swinging at that thing. But that was the first one. And then 1 week went by. 1 month went by. 1 year went by. 2 years went by. 3 years went by. And then all of a sudden he was really, really good. He was good playing college, and he got out of college and he was really, really good. Unfortunately, didn't make it to the MLB, but again, he was really, really good. But again, it starts with one. Start with your first one. Okay? So if at the end of 2023, you want this to be a reality, think to yourself, hey, you know what? This Friday, I need to make this happen. I don't want to pay rent anymore. How do I make it happen? This Friday might not be the Friday that you go and drink with your friends. This Friday might not be that Friday that you go out to that restaurant and spend $100, $125 with you and your honey, eating crap. This Friday might not be that Friday where you go to the movies and, you watch whatever the new release is, which I have no idea because I haven't been to the movie theater in quite some time. This Friday is not that Friday. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? Instead of going out 2 to 3 times a month or 4 times a month or 6 times a month or 5 times a week on entertainment, my goal at the end of 2023, I'm not going to pay rent. How do I make that happen? You need moolah, right? You need cash. You need that cash so you could use it as a down payment for that property that is going to allow you to live rent-free, right? Focus on that. If you focus on that, then you can say, okay, your friends are going to make fun of you. Some of your family members are going to make fun of you. But guess what? 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, whatever the time you want to give is going to go by. And let's actually do this exercise right now. Close your eyes and think of a family member, right? Think of an average family member that you have. Average. I'm not saying that they're successful, not successful, whatever. Just think of the average, whoever it is. Might be your uncle, might be your father, might be your mother, might be your cousin or whatever. Just the average person. And think about them and say, hey, when did I last see him? Last year, right? If I saw him last year, are they in the same position that they were last year? And then think about, okay, if I saw him 2 years ago, are they in the same position as they were 2 years ago? And think, okay, and think really, really hard. And hopefully this is an older relative of yours. 5 years ago, right? 5 years. That's not that long ago. 5 years. 5 years ago, are they in the same position today as they were 5 years ago? And if the answer to that question is yes, that relative that's giving me shit, that's telling me that I'm crazy, that I don't see you or whatever, is in the same position they are right now as they were 5 years ago, you tell me, do you want to continue listening to their ridicule? Do you want to continue getting advice from somebody that is either just as broke as you or maybe more broke than you? If you do, I can't help you. Go listen to somebody else. That's all I can tell you. But again, if you want to liberate yourself from that rental payment, if you want to live rent-free, this is the path. Some paths are going to cost sacrifices. You might have to sacrifice that Friday night dinner. You might have to sacrifice going out for a while. You might have to recalculate some of your other expenses. You might have to save for quite a few months, right? That's a muscle right? That's a muscle, the discipline muscle, where you're saying, hey, I'm disciplined enough that I have this goal and now I want to achieve this goal. This is the amount of money I need. This is my plan to get there. And now if I go to spend every single week and I go out and I'm spending $100 a week, that's $400 a month. And you're making $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month. $400 might not be that much. But that $400 over a month, over 12 months becomes $4,800. Now your mother all of a sudden decides to give you a Christmas gift because she sees that you're focused on that plan, and now you got another $2,500. Now your father, he sees that you're motivated. He decides to give you something. He gave you another $2,500. So now that $4,800, that little $400 a month that you decided not to go out this Friday, all of a sudden becomes the $4,800 that you saved up, plus the $2,500 that your mother gave you, plus the $2,500 that your father gave you. That's $9,800. And then there's grants, there's other things that we could get into and we could talk about and all that stuff, which we'll get into, that you could look into as well. But again, it got you there with one idea. The idea is, hey, by the end of 2023, I don't want to pay rent. By the end of 2023, I'm going to own a duplex, a threeplex, or a fourplex, and my tenants are going to pay me rent, and with that, I'm not going to have to worry about my rent payment. Let's get that first, okay? So if you enjoyed this, leave a comment. Let me know what some of the nuggets were. Look out for some of the resources that I have. Look out, just comment here. Once it comes out, hopefully you can see the information. If you're not, follow, subscribe, whatever the things are. And again, if not, just check in. If you don't want to subscribe, if you don't want to follow, that's fine. Just remember my name, Maksim Cruz, right? And then just search for me and say Maksim Cruz. And then at some point within the next 30 days, you'll see that resource, right? And I'll go step by step on how to do this. And every single week I'll come on live and we'll break it down and we'll break down the steps. If you have a property specifically, if you're like, hey, let's talk a scenario. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, we could do a live together and we'll break down your scenario one by one. If you're a successful individual and you have something to give back to this community, to the people that are watching me, DM me, send me a message if you want to collaborate and do something together. That's one of the next steps that I want to do is for the people that get the resources, right? Once you understand on how to do this, once you understand what is it that I need, what I'm doing is building out a national network, a network of professionals, real estate professionals that understand this, not that are looking out for their commissions, right? There's two types of real estate agents, and I want you to get this because I used to be a certain type of real estate agent and I switched my mindset to a different type of real estate agent. There's a real estate agent that makes a lot of money, and maybe both of these agents make a lot of money. But the difference is, and you know it when you speak with them, and you know it because of the information that they give, you know it because of the way that they treat you. This real estate agent, all he cares about is making the most amount of money. If you get the deal and you can't pay for it at the end of next month or in 2 months or 3 months, he already made his commission. So that real estate agent, all he cares about is making sure that he makes the most amount of money. Now, there's more of these, the other type of real estate agent, than there is of this one. The other person is the person that if they work with you, they're happy. If they don't work with you, they're happy. They work with the right people. And what their interest is not their commission. They're not interested in their commission. They understand that they get a commission because of the service that they provide to you. And that service that they provide to you is to put you in a position where they are truly an advisor, right? Where you tell them, hey, you know what? This gentleman, Maksim Cruz, he told me that I could live rent-free forever. What I'm looking for is a 2-family, a 3-family, or a 4-family home where ideally the income that I get from my rental units covers most of my mortgage. In today's environment, to do that with a 2-family is very, very tight. Okay, it was tight back when I did it the first time. That's why I went in for a 4-family. With a 4-family, I can guarantee you 99% of the time, with the exceptions of a few cities, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, downtown Miami. with exceptions of those 4 cities that I could burst off the top of my head because I fairly know those markets fairly well, especially the Miami market. You can't do that, okay? A 4 unit in Miami is going to cost you between $850 to $1 million. The numbers don't work. Even if you rent out each unit for $2,000, the numbers with the property taxes, the maintenance, the insurance, they're not going to work. Now, you drive an hour outside of that, and guess what? You tell me, oh my God, I'm going to have to drive an hour. If you live in New York, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You drive an hour from the city, you get out past White Plains, not even that far, Yonkers, let's say. You go west, Jersey City, an hour, right? You do this an hour. And I know it sucks. I did it too, right? You drive an hour outside of San Francisco, an hour outside of LA. Now, again, San Francisco and LA I'm not even going to get into those two because those are really, really, really tough markets to do this. So up there, maybe Airbnb works better than the whole 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit. I don't know, okay? But anyways, the two type of real estate agents, what I'm doing is building a national network. Earlier today, I had a call with Luke. Wonderful, wonderful individual. Is really young, sharp, 28 years old, knows what's going on, is there to serve his customers. And really, that's what I'm looking for. And why am I looking for that? Because we want to build a network where you say, hey, you know what? I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to really get serious about my life. And I want to live rent-free. Do you have anyone in Atlanta that you could recommend? And guess what I'm going to be able to do? When all of these resources are available, not only are you going to see exactly what you need to do, that real estate professional is going to be able to utilize the same resources in order to help and guide you so you get what you want. And that real estate professional ideally will be in the network of individuals that I've spoken to face to face, just like you are, on Zoom, on Instagram Live, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, wherever it is. We made that introduction. I realized that they're great individuals, that they really want to help, that they not only care about their commission, but they care, their number one priority is that you understand that you get that great deal. So then at month number 2, you can pay your mortgage with the tenant's income. So they understand that. They're going to make a commission because that's their job. Their job is to find you that deal. But their number one thing is that they have to earn it. They have to earn their commission by getting you into the property that is going to allow you to do that. If not, then they don't deserve the commission. And if they're in my network and I figure out, or somebody comes back to me and say, hey, you know what? I called this guy. I've been calling this guy for the last 2 weeks and he hasn't responded. Unless they're dead under a rock, they're not going to be in my network no more. They're not going to get any more referrals. So listen up. If you're a real estate agent and you're in my network right now and you're not answering the calls for the clients that we are sharing with you, that's going to stop. And I'm going to find other individuals who care, who want to serve the people that are watching this, and who want to help other individuals do this, right? So again, that's what we're creating here. Number one, you're that watching this is understanding, and maybe you are that real estate agent. Maybe you are that real estate agent that makes whatever, $60,000, $80,000 a year, but you're still paying rent. You know what percentage, according to the National Association of Realtors, this is a crazy number that blows my head. I think it was over 80%. It was something like 85 or 87% of real estate agents don't actually own an investment property. It was something higher than 50% don't actually own a home to live in. Now think about that. You're a real estate agent and you're selling homes to other people, but you don't own a home that you live in. You're selling investments to other people, but you don't own an investment that you're selling. Think about that. How does that make sense? Now, there's a lot of variability. Of course, you're on 1099 income. It takes more work. All of that blah, 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 right? But man, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, and you still don't own a home and you're selling homes to other people? Like one and one doesn't add up to 2 if that's the scenario, right? So maybe you're that real estate agent that be like, hey, you know what? I think I'm making okay money, 60, 80,000, $100,000 a year. But damn, I'm ready to own some investments. Because guess what? As a real estate agent, your leads dry up. You're not servicing that thing. You're chasing the next deal. You're chasing the next lead, doing all that. How long are you going to do that for? 30, 40 years? Like what I was doing 5 years ago is not what I'm doing today. What I was doing a year ago is not what I'm doing today. Do you want to have a life where you're just doing the same thing for 40 years? Or do you want to have a life where you're transitioning, right? Maybe transitioning into something better. Maybe this is a stepping stone to the next level that you want to achieve. Whatever that is, man, it starts with one, right? You have zero ownership right now in real estate. You have a monthly payment that you're doing anyways. That's probably your rent or your mortgage if you live in a single family. And it's not making you anything. What if at the end of 2023, you took that zero and you made it into one? You went from that zero property owned to your first property owned, right? You went from that zero additional income, and now you have some additional income. Let's say you're in a single family home already, right? You don't have a rent payment, but you have a mortgage payment. So guess what? Instead of the tenant coming to you and giving you the money and saying, hey, Mr. Landlord, here's the money, go take it to the bank, you're taking your wallet, you're putting your own cash out, and you're giving it to the bank. What happens if you stop working? What happens if you get hurt? When my friends were just riding, some of you know that I cycle. One of my friends was just riding his bike, hurt his leg. Thousands of dollars of hospital bills. Who knows when he'll be able to work again? Right? What happens then? That's life, right? That's life. Now, again, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that this is for everyone. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe you're cozy, you're fine with your job, you're fine with the business that you have, and you're just looking at this for pure entertainment. Thanks for joining us, and I hope you get some information. But if you want something bigger in life, it starts with one. One decision that you make to change one thing. The one thing that you're going to change in 2023 is I'm not going to pay rent. At least not with my income, right? I'm not going to take money out of my wallet in order to go bring to the bank. I'm going to become the landlord so then I can own rental units where I can live rent-free. So that's one payment that you save. And then my tenants can give me money. Let's say you got a 3-family or 4-family. You have 2 tenants. If you have a 3-family, you have 3 tenants that are giving you money. So now you went from one source of income, your job, to 3 sources of income because each one of those tenants is a source of income. Some people say, oh yeah, that's one source of income. It's one rental property. Oh yeah? It's one rental property, right? But you have 3 tenants. What if one of those tenants gets hurt? What if they stop paying rent? Now that source of income went away. It's not, oh, you have a property that cash flows $2,000 a month. And now it's cash flowing $1,000. Oh, it's no worries. It's just one property, one cash flow, right? No, it's 3 sources of property. It's 3 cash flows, 3 tenants paying you 3 rents. If one of those stops, catch it sooner than later. Ask me how I know, right? The sooner you catch it, the sooner you're able to plug up that hole on a sinking ship, and all tides raise a sinking ship, right? So if a tenant is not paying you rent, yes, it sucks to be a landlord. It sucks to go through the eviction process. It sucks to do all that. But again, let's not focus on all the negative stuff. Because guess what? When I was going to buy my first property, actually not my first property, my second property, I was just about to quit my job. My dad told me that I was crazy. That why was I leaving a state job? I was working for the state of Massachusetts. Just so you know where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is, hey, you work for the state of Massachusetts, you're all set for life, right? You have a retirement plan, you have health insurance, you have all this stuff, you have nothing to worry about, your life is made, right? That's where I'm coming from. And maybe you're coming from the same thing where it was like, hey, The path to your success is going to college, doing this, getting a great job, and that's it. You've made it. That's the pinnacle. And very, very soon you realize that that's a stepping stone. But you're meant for something bigger, right? You realize, hey, this isn't what I want. And the sad thing is some people don't realize that until it's too late. When they're 65, when they're 85, when they're 95 and they're on that deathbed. And that, personally, I don't want that. So I was told, hey, I'm crazy, My second property, I was told I'm crazy. You can't do that. A lot of people are gonna come in and tell you, hey, with this guy, what Maksim's telling you right here, you can't do that, man. It's not the way that it works. Oh, it worked back then, but it doesn't work now. And if somebody's telling that to you, invite them on here, please. I would love to have them on here, and I would love for them to share the knowledge that they have in order to allow you, with the resources that they're going to give you for free, right? They're not going to charge you. With the resources that they're going to give you for free, let me repeat that. The resources that they're going to give you for free to go out and make something better for you, make something a reality. And guess how many people are going to take me up on that challenge? Right? Because everybody on this world, and if you're on social media, you've probably seen a million different people trying to sell you a million different shit, is trying to get money from you. Because there's a lot of different people here, and I've met a lot of them that actually do what it is that they're selling. And the reason that they sell their courses is because it takes them a lot of time in order to give back and do it. And they realize, hey, you know what? This is an avenue, not that it's my main generation of income, but this is an avenue for me to build partners. But I don't want to be one of those, right? Again, Alex Hormozi, a huge fan. I'd love to have him and Layla one time. Maybe we could collaborate on Instagram or something else, or do a podcast or live video or whatever. But just this simple concept, right? How about if you learn something, how many years did it take you to get there? Maybe it took you 3 months. Maybe it took you 12. Maybe it took you 5 years. Maybe it took you 10. What if you were in the position and you're like, hey, whatever it took me, that amount of time, I'm just going to give it away. Is it gonna hurt you? Probably not, right? But no, I learned this, so it's a top secret, right? Look at the words that we use, right? Look at the things that we say. We all use words, right? Words here, words there, and everybody's using the same words. Really, whatever you figured out, you think you figured out on your own, you probably learned it from somebody else. The question is, why did some people take a year to learn it and other people went and applied it and learned in 3 months, right? Why do I share some of this information with some of my clients and within 3 months they're buying their first property, right? Maybe they're ready. Maybe they were already thinking about it and they just needed someone to push them and let them know that it was okay because they have all that negativity around them that's telling them that they can't do it. Maybe that's what it is, but anyways, past today's topic. So again, end of 2023, number one goal, don't pay rent, right? Let's focus on that. Don't pay rent. I want to live rent-free. I want to live rent-free. How do I do that? I'm going to get a duplex, a 2-family, a 3-plex, a 3-family, or a 4-plex. Those are the things that I'm focusing on. And maybe if you don't want to do it, maybe that's the reason why you need to do it. Right? Look at your finances right now. Are you happy with where you are? Maybe you're not. And if you're not, then there's the next level. Maybe there's some sacrifices you have to make. You have to look deep into the mirror and be like, shit, this is not what I want. And for me to get to where I want, this is what I need to do. I got to do Uber. I got to do whatever. I got to get a part-time. I got to cut some bills out. Netflix, I have no idea how much Netflix is. What is it, $13 a month now? I don't know. I don't subscribe to it. The only reason I know is, what do we have? The phone service is T-Mobile, and I think it's included in there. But other than that, I wouldn't pay for Netflix. Hulu? I don't have Hulu. I use my brother-in-law's. Why the hell would I pay for something if I can get it for free? I mean, I'm just being honest. Right? I'm just being honest. Well, what else you got on there? That $3 coffee in the morning, that's nothing. People telling you that's nothing, right? Times five, that's $15 a week. Times four, $60 a month. Times 12, $720. That's nothing. Yeah, sure, it's nothing. Nothing one time. But maybe that's the sacrifice you make. You know, some people don't even have, after all that money that was given out by Corona and all that shit. Some people, and if this is you today, for your own God's sake, for your own sake, look at yourself seriously in the mirror. If you don't have $1,000 in your bank account today, and I don't want it, and you know what? A good piece of advice, and I don't like giving advice where it's not asked, don't give it to somebody else that is selling you something. But if you don't have $1,000 in your bank account today, and you've been somewhat active, if you've been alive over 18 over 18 in the last 2-3 years, and you don't have $1,000 in your bank account today, there's something wrong, right? There's something wrong. You have to do something to adjust. All I'm giving you is one way to adjust. Is that the way that's going to work for everyone? Hell no. Right? How many people go out there and become doctors? How many people go out there and become lawyers? How many people go out there and trade stocks? How many people go out there and do e-commerce? How many people out there become the next Jeff Bezos? How many people out there become the next Elon Musk in the technology space? How many people out there go into manufacturing and become whatever, something else? Right? All the fields, there's a million things that you could do. Maybe you're not the best at what you're doing. But shit, if you don't have $1,000 to your name right now, and you're not seriously looking yourself in the mirror and saying, what the hell am I doing wrong? If you don't adjust, shit isn't going to change. And 12 months from now, January 23rd, 2024, if you look at this in the replay, and I'm going to actually replay this video 1 year from now, and you're in the same exact position where you're paying rent, and you're actually going to pay more rent, because guess what? Over the next 12 months, when your lease is up for renewal, if you have a fairly good landlord, they're going to increase your rent. Might only be $10, might be $15, might be nothing. Maybe your rent doesn't increase. Maybe you have, you're at the top of the market where you're at, and your rent doesn't increase. Maybe that's the case. But what if it doesn't? What if it does go up? And you look at me and you replay this video and be like, shit. You know what I'm going to tell you? Okay, that was a year ago. What are you going to do now? Another year goes by, 2025. You look at this video again. I'm actually going to play this video for myself. I'm not going to play it for you. I'm actually going to play this video for myself. Because if next year, at this time, January 23rd, 2024, I'm in the same position. Now, it doesn't mean I won't live here, okay? Because I'm pretty happy where I live right now. In Miami, a 3-bedroom condo that we own. The association here is, we got some issues that we got to work out, right? But you're always going to have challenges wherever you live. I don't care if you live in a single family home. Guess what? Maybe you got a small leak, right? Maybe you got that neighbor's dog that comes over your yard and shits in your yard, right? Maybe you got that other neighbor that likes to fix cars all the time and has loud music, right? Or maybe you're living in perfect la la land where your home is perfect, everything is perfect, but for some reason you're not fulfilled in life. Right? If that's the case, and a year from now, you're in the same place, shit. Emotionally, mentally, or whatever, damn, that's gonna hurt. And the only reason that I'm doing this video today is because I want to give you something. To give you something that I wish somebody gave me. Instead of all that negative advice that people are telling you and the world is gonna end and all that shit that you're looking out there, do something for you. And what I want for you to do for yourself is saying, hey, you know what? A year from now, let's set that as a goal. A year from now, I'm not going to pay rent. I'm going to have a duplex, a threeplex, or a fourplex where my tenants give me money, I bring it to the bank, and at least I live rent-free. There's got to be other challenges, and we'll get into all those, but let's do that number one goal. So leave a comment, leave a response, follow me here. I'm going to be bringing more and more resources. If you'd like to come on here, definitely join me, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, any one of those. I'd love to have you on. If you have a question, a specific question, mention it here. I want to do this multiple times a week. Right now, I'm committing to one day, but I want to do this multiple times a week where I come on live and answer questions. And if you got value from this, share it with somebody else and make that goal for yourself. Make it a reality. So with that, Maksim Cruz, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you on here next one. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, everyone. And we